It's got to be what Shib said in Ritas.
Ritas is going to be the player to watch then. SSG versus Lunex. Can Lunex pull off the unthinkable? Let's find out. Map 1. Let's get into it.
All right, brother. Our final one of the day. We get to see the band face starting up here in a moment. You know, we've gotten an insight on the band face, and things have changed a little bit. I will say the main target's still very much the case, and that is going to be Elsa and Gambit. So I would not be surprised if we see that. And what do you know? Goodbye to the double Elsa.
Oh man, does that open up the tones? Maybe Gambit, Rogue combination. Like we saw how good that can be too. But this is also kind of like what you said. I think you might be right about the 2-1, by the way. Just because, I mean, Lunex are really good on domination compared to SSG, and also, did well against Nightmare as well on domination, and they're one of the best domination teams in this group. But yeah, if they don't win on domination, if they can't win on Krakoa, then I think we're talking about a 2-0. Regardless, I'm going to be kind of interested to see if we do get that Rogue through, man. Like, do you think that's going to happen as we see the Gambit Protect come through?
Yeah, I think we're going to see the Rogue or it's going to be banned. I think both teams are aware of how strong Rogue is right now. And I think there's a lot of teams that have drawn attention to it. The Loki's obviously a huge ban target too now that Gambit's through. On both sides, I'm assuming we'll see that as well. No team wants to handle the double Raging Royal flush. It's so aggressive. Yeah. But we'll see in a moment what that turns out to be. As we can see the Invis focus here. And that's something we've been seeing a lot more of, at least today.
Yeah, so like, do you think that who is the stronger aspect of these team ups, man? Like, is it the backline, or is it, which by the way that does come through instead of the Vanpool, but is it the backline that enables it, or is it just like the team up in general that makes these Vanguards so like strong?
I think it's the team up. I mean, for Strange, it enables combinations, and especially here for Rogue, which it looks like that lock is coming through from the side of Lunex, which I think is a great lock, by the way. It really does etcher up the tier on tier list. I have no doubt. You just can provide so much extra damage. You do a burst of damage on every target hit by your abilities, and you have piercing abilities with your kicks that happen twice. You can literally one-shot backlines if they're stacking and just force out so many cooldowns just with one of yours. So, and not even being an ultimate, and outside of that, obviously the ultimate's super impactful too with Heartbreakers. So just a really strong pick, and I do think with that Gambit backline, it's just super enabled.
They go for the Daredevil ban into the Mantis Protect towards the very end, so it's still available for the side of Lunex, but they also, still get that Invisible Woman matchup they want with the Doctor Strange too. I don't know, this is kind of interesting. They go for the Star-Lord on the opposite side. I mean, I guess with the Gambit stuff, it kind of changes the ban system ship a little bit, right? Like, we move immediately over towards these last bans being Invis or like a Vanguard into, okay, we got to get rid of these duelists that are enabled by Gambit.
Yeah, 100%. I think things have definitely shifted just in this last few weeks alone from what we've been seeing. I don't think we saw a ton of Star-Lord immediately. Teams are kind of letting it through, and we weren't really sure about how Gambit would be with the changes or how else it would be with the changes this week. But teams are starting to figure it out now, but I think it's just going to keep evolving. But I do think on this ban phase, I think I give this to Lunex.
Okay. I honestly agree. I think I'm with you a little bit just because of the fact that they do get mainly the Rogue stuff. They also don't have to worry about the, just that's just through. We've seen tones pop off on it just like we saw Vest did, right? And then it's going to be hard to peel it without the Invis. So I'm curious if Space Station does well with it, considering the situation they were in. But they've done well too, Shib, right? Like, we go over to this map on Krakoa, and I think this team can set the pace too. But I think a lot of that also comes down to when we saw Blur on the Venom, right? Like, I feel like Blur was doing a ton on the Venom like we saw Window doing in the previous maps to enable this SSG squad, but I'm curious if he would even play it with the current situation on SSG.
Yeah, I mean, and you get away with having the Mantis on Lunex, and you don't even need to save it, which Space Station had to do. So I think that it just kind of worked out for him right now. They also get away with that Star-Lord who plays so well into this composition. And you mentioned not necessarily want to see Silent on the Jeff. We'll see if that other opportunity comes through. Psych, I lied. The switch was just going to be for Bubble to give him a little extra speed and go on that Invis to help out Seiko on Strange.
Okay. And going for that 2-2-2, just hard aggression sort of style, alongside Ritas playing that Phoenix, which has kind of gotten more playtime as we've gone on, just in terms of like raw front-to-back damage. As Tones immediately slows down Necrise, is engaged. Blur as well, who was onto that Venom, trying to set up constant dives with the damage boost.
It is the battle of the sticks too. Silent Blaze on controller, but so is Necrise. So for anybody, maybe on PC on controller, give you a little something to look forward to as we watch this matchup. Tico going way down in HP there, able to escape in that moment with the jump. The whole teams are kind of just feeling each other out, trying to understand what these comps look like, but the damage from Space Station is a lot right now.
And this Mantis boost is just doing a ton for sure, like you mentioned, Shib. But Ultimate's being built slowly. Rita's close to that, and Inferno Silent plays close to the invisible boundary. They came back to peel Blur.
Wow.
Can they get the KO? No, the heals are there, and they give it the points. So SSG are in control and save their Venom.
Yeah, I think the Venom, like the idea of taking Venom out there was just too much and gave them the point, but they're able to cap this back likely quickly here. No, he does get matched back. Wasn't sure if they're going to wait on it after the pick. Numbers are very low on the front line. They're still holding on. Great positioning by those strats, which you can notice in the back as you see Blur fall from Iffy with some good shots there. Still stalling point. Fidel with some good positioning. Also going to have Fox on the side of Month protecting. Fidel falls there from Tico, though. And that's going to be another with Tones and Silent Blaze cleaning it up. And they will retake this point after 26%.
Yeah, I mean, I would have assumed we would have got a pick there, but excellent healing out of both strat lines. Regardless, Lunex in control after, you know, that nice pick off onto Blur eventually, who is now switching over to the Rogue off of the Venom. Makes sense, definitely, with the team up and based on what we've seen out of the Rogue so far. But now, in terms of ultimates, you know, let's see who gets the better backline ult right into this fight. Space Station Gaming going to have that Mantis soon, but maybe we can get a KO through any of these strat ults with the Phoenix ult. The Ensong Inferno can delete all of the shields given by Mantis.
This could be a huge eye Agamotto opportunity. I like when you can eye up on vertical locations because it's very, very difficult to react when you use the speed boost from the jump immediately to go into eye instead of kind of falling down after the fact, but electing to not use it there. Necrise tries to get the Diamond Form tackle. The Carbon Crush does not go through. There goes the thighs out, cries out, but teams are one, and Tones does fall there as Blur gets that pick. And we see it's the butterfly in the backline. Now goes to Eye of Agamotto. That's a good answer. Month going to get stopped in tracks. But the Fox Swarm goes away, and that enables Month to move once more. Still stalling on the point right now is Lunex, but Space Station definitely has priority.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to go generally their way with the Ensong Inferno until the Gambit ult got built. They're coming back into it. Month with another one on the Iffy. A little bit late, unfortunately, for Logan, but Regis does find one on the Fidel. I think well-timed by Team SSG as they reclaimed the point because they made this ult second, but it doesn't matter because Lunex disengaged and re-engaged with that Gambit ult and maybe got a few too many KOs for SSG's liking.
Yeah, I don't mind Necros here on the Emma. Obviously, control players, it's a great fit with the Emma. I think Emma does a decent job into Gambit too, as the team plays a little more aggressive. You can use that Psionic Seduction to try to catch somebody off guard who's overextending just a little bit and just find an answer. But right there, Necros using it to initiate, trying to give them the chance to get on point. But Lunex looking really good here. Tones with a Heartbreaker. Wow, goes down to like 100 HP, but great focus by the backline right back up as Tico is able to find Month. And speaking of this map here, Lunex's priority, they're looking pretty good right now, but out goes the Raging Royal Flush once again.
Yeah, coming back into it, I mean, they have to touch last second as well, missing Tones on the side of Lunex as well. And okay, Lugan goes down, so nice job with that re-engage, able to find those 2 KOs if he falls too. Reclaiming the point, Lunex just kind of give it up until last second. Tico gets staggered, but he'll have that eye for next fight. And upcoming, we're going to have another ult cycle again with the Ensong Inferno up Shib. I think last time they matched it with the Month ultimate due to the pace that Lunex is playing at. But let's see where they kind of take this upcoming fight. I think that matters a lot, right? Where can Nectar get off this Psylocke ultimate for Lunex's side? You know, where do they set up Tico? Do they get in any aggression with Iffy, who's now onto that Venom?
Yeah, there's a lot of ult potential here for Lunex in this next fight. There's not going to be too many answers quite yet. They've got to take this fight fast if they want to guarantee a potential higher percentage, at least, in taking this point. If he goes under, can't decide where to go with the Feast right now. Ew, that's going to be a tough look. Can't even get to the front line. Just great separation by the back as Nectar now is able to find 2, make it 3, and that could give them enough time here to build back ultimates to match. Wow, Nectar could not be more clutch with the 4-piece.
Oh my goodness, you're right. Clutch indeed. And now they got the portal play back from Spawn. Is ready to CC it. Potentially any grabs or anything. Wait, do they have... Okay, here comes the portal at 90%. Necrise coming through as well to try to grab anybody coming out of it. They're not going to go for the CC to stop it. But this is going to be a heavy hold fight coming up. Can Regis counter Doom's ult maybe coming in a moment?
And there goes the Soul Resurgence, the eye, followed up by the end song is huge, as if he's able to take out Fidel. Doom goes down too. That is 2 strategists in the middle of a Soul Resurgence ultimate. Regis from downtown with some good shots on the Nectar is going to find a triple, and that could do it here. Not sure a portal will come in time. The point's being taken. Yes, Doom should be able to get portal, but they're staggering so much it's going to be very difficult to win this portal fight if they can get it there. Regis with a huge stun. Talk about the value of that stun, and there it is once more as Regis finds Month with the melee. The portal comes through for the touch. but the numbers are going to be dwindling. Blur does have ult available here for Space Station. No ults yet for Lunex, but Blur goes down. Tones finds one iffy onto Fidel. Nectar takes out Logan, but I'm not sure the trade will be enough, as yes, the haymakers are flowing, and that should do it as Lunex takes map 1.
Oh my god, I'm surprised he didn't want to do it. Because, like, maybe Blur commits the ult. They don't have the Gambit ult afterwards. I guess they didn't need anything anyways, but that's a tough fight, man. Like, I feel like they lost it due to the fact they grouped around the point, man, because they all came together, played around the Mantis ult, but they popped it early, straight into what we mentioned about the counter, that eye from Tico, and then the follow-up there from Ritas just purely countered it. And I think before they played it well when it was Month's ult used, because obviously that's just going to give you healing instead of just overhealth and stuff, but I mean, you know, Chib, right? Like the overhealth and stuff just getting deleted by Ensong with the Eye of Agamotto. You can't outlive that combo, right?
Yeah, it's just too much to handle. It's a great combination. It's just a lot of damage in a quick window, and it gives Strange the opportunity to use that dark magic to just clean up whoever's around, should you need to, but honestly wasn't even needing to, as the Ensong was doing enough damage in that moment. But we're going to see here what Space Station does to change things up, and it looks like they're going to try. You can see a little more aggro play from Blur on the Venom now. We'll see what happens, but Lunex does have ult advantage on the Rip here, and it is going to be a Gambit charge prior to Fidel having a chance at it. If they can find Fidel in this fight with this Gambit all early, this could be a huge start for Lunex.
And this is tough if, like, SSG don't have a good Rogue player long-term for what you've seen out of Rogue so far. It's not even banned, right? And, like, we can't even play it. It's very interesting. I think long-term as we see this team progress, regardless of result, but obviously on a domination map type, it's not their preferred. Snipes cross map coming out for Ritas early on.
And there goes the commitment now. Heartbreaker's available to stop Fidel from getting this all if they can get on top, but Fidel might have this answer, looking for it right now, and does get it off. Well played there, and good position by Fidel. Coming right in is Nectar, gonna find one. Month with one, Nectar again. Tico tries to trade, but Nectar's on a 3-piece. Somebody stop them. That could be 4. Wow. Again on this Psylocke.
Yeah, excellent work in that fight. SSG get it done. And I like as well Doom going over to the Phoenix off of that Mantis as well. You know, we see like a lot of the best teams, I think, kind of funnel through objective, you know, not fully committing until the right moment. You talked about it, shit. That was the correct moment, I think, for Nectar to pop the ultimate right after the ultimate committed from Lunex. But now it's looking fight. They have Invisible Boundary to play on the inside of. They also have that combo from earlier where they committed Ensong Inferno and the Eye of Agamotto. Meanwhile, for SSG, they have nothing to really peel it. So they're going to have to play a little bit split, make sure they don't get hit by this eye.
Yeah, good start here for SSG. And Month's able to find one on an Iffy. That's a huge start once again. That'll give them the advantage to buy time here. Lunex has so many ults, but Ritas falls to Nectar. Nectar in the neutral, already almost at 50%. Logan able to find Month and try to trade this a little bit.
Oh, the grab!
Still holding on. And that does force out the boundary from Silent Blaze, who takes out Fidel in that moment. And that could be a point take here from Lunex, but trying to see how much percentages they can squeeze out. It's going to be SSG.
Oh. I was about to say, I love how SSG's playing aggressive, but wait, they're ulting in the Ensong in front on the right side. Logan, totally fine. Okay, interesting from Doomed.
Yeah, I don't know about
I don't know what that was about. that was very candid out of him, but you know, that was interesting. I like the pace that they played at, but that was a little bit too far forward with Month going down. I guess it's fine. This is the tough part with the Emma too, Shib, right? Like, I feel like Nectar's got everything he kind of wanted, forcing Invisible Boundary, like you mentioned, also canceling the Eye of Agamotto from Tico, but it doesn't end up mattering long-term, sadly, for the Emma Frost player of SSG, who are now down in ultimates.
Yeah, it's going to be a similar situation where Logan will have ult first for Lunex. Fidel could get it in this fight. Necryze and Month have ults available, and here goes the Heartbreaker combination. The idea now is to run at everybody, ensure they cannot get ults off, and that's exactly what Tones is doing. Logan's going to follow up and try to hit the backline with purple. Does that. Goodbye, Fidel. Huge pick there. Another goes down on the side of Nectar. Great target prio, and a huge eye comes in onto 2, and that could be a cleanup. Just 2 more, but that was a lot of commitment. Naturally, eye was needed after they had already lost 4.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there. Maybe they're too scared of, like, Nectar doing work as well, but still, in the upcoming fight, don't have invisible boundary. Maybe we can set it up too with Necryze. Doom not going over to the Daredevil. But that's tough. That was a really hard fight to win, I think, alongside that Raging Royal Flush with the commitment from Ritas. Upcoming fight, though, so SSG, they could set up Nectar onto basically nothing. Who Month now over to Jeff to give a little speed boost maybe onto Nectar's engage, but he's stunned up already.
Blur, pop that E early for Space Station. The health comes right back, and there's the engagement combination with Neck Rise. Ton of damage now. Emma, with that Psionic Seduction, does significantly more damage with the recent changes. Month able to find Iffy. Tico goes down 2 from Nectar, who has yet to miss an ultimate. Fidel, doomed, Month, Neck Rise. Everybody get a piece of the pie now, as Space Station Gaming wants this W bad and trying to take this back quickly. 78% for Lunex here, and they will have slight ult advantage.
Yeah, excellent push. Again, playing the aggression very well. This is what they do. You know, going for that swap over to the Jeff as well. Getting constant pressure with the back line. Also, you can see if he went over to the Thing temporarily, was thinking about switching to that character. But upcoming fight, I need to see how they do in the neutral. Neckrise already stunned, slowed down on the left side. This has been a really bad showing, I think, out of Neckrise.
Goes down there. And again, Lunex going to be up in numbers. Silent Place does have Invisible Boundary available. There's no answer ultimates here for SSG, so no, why not be safe with it? As you see here, Logan able to find Blur, and they get this point, 80%. You know, the idea is using that boundary to ensure they win it, but, you know, after the fact, you know, you look back a little hindsight, saying maybe I didn't need to, but it's never a bad decision if it's going to put you to the 99 number. And especially when Logan will have ult significantly faster than Fidel. And that's the beauty of having that Heartbreaker from Tones, constantly reducing ult charge, making it even harder to get those ults off.
I got a touch 2. Somebody has to go in. Overtime ticks down. Regis has ult with this Gambit ult. This combination has been brutal, and they already get rid of Doomed.
That was disturbing. Chasing down Nectar with some great movement, but oh, wow. Can Nectar get away?
Ow!
I'm not sure. That was disgusting.
What?
Gets back to... Oh, wait a minute. Through the portal. That was dirty as Lunex take this home 2-0. And I do think they just won the ban phase, buddy.
Yeah. I mean, this is what we talked about with the 100 Thieves, no? Like, this is the exact same scenario shit. I don't want to overreact, obviously, but, like, what do you think? Like, obviously, you don't want to insult players, but, like, man, we can't not play Rogue. Right? Like, that character's disgusting right now.
Or not ban it. If you're going to not play it, you got to make sure it's a priority ban. I'm with you, 1,000%.
Just because the only way SSG won fights is when Nectar had ult, right? Like, every single time. Easy SVP, obviously. But outside of that, I mean, I like Emma. I like the idea of trying to counter dive, but it just doesn't seem possible right now with how disgusting that character is.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Nectar, obviously, they deserved, SVP. They're 11 finals. We look over Regis, really good once again. We shouted out Regis prior to this, saying, keep your eyes on Regis on hit scan. Dude is just locked in. You can see the tracking is just disgusting. 19K damage there, more than anyone in the lobby. But then all the front line, the Vanguard, 686, they're getting a ton of influence as well. And they looked really strong out there. Obviously, Tico making the switch there and showing up on the side lock towards the end. But they were running that triple for a while.
Guys, is it happening? Are we actually going to see this from Lunex, or is it just a domination thing? That's the biggest question for me. It seems to be the question we've been asking ourselves every single time one of the lower seeded teams takes on a bigger team in Dom. Or is it a little bit of arrogance maybe from some of these higher seeded teams? As you said, is it a situation in the pick and bans where you're thinking, oh, well, we don't need to ban this character. We don't need to get rid of this hero because we can deal with it. We know better. But then learning a lesson in map 1. Lunex are 1 map away from moving on into playoffs and, of course, sending Nightmare down and out. Dog, do you think they've got what it takes to go that 1 step further, or do you think now we go into Convoy or Convergence, everything changes here?
I mean, maybe we go to a good map where dive is like solid and stuff. If we go to a good Convergence map, but I think it's what you guys said. I think it's gonna be 2-1. Like it's really looking close. And I think to kind of shift the discussion, and this might get a little toxic, so prepare for it. But does this start the discussion of Vanguard controller players being phased out of the game? Because if we think about it in the current patch, a lot of the really strong controller players aren't viable, right? Or heroes, sorry. We have Emma Frost. She's good for sure, but we just saw it get matched by Rogue and dominated. We've seen earlier as well, Angela players, a lot of controller players play Angela. Angela not having a very good patch. This is arguably Rogue's patch for sure. So some of the best controller Vanguards seem to not be viable right now. We're going to Midtown next. I don't know about you guys, but I'm thinking this starts a discussion about roller Vanguard players maybe not being the most viable currently in this current situation, in the current patch.
I mean, Shibby's opened up a can of worms there, a peripheral war that we've been talking about since the age of old time, right? This has been a conversation of controller players versus mouse and keyboard. Obviously, there's strengths and weaknesses to both. I mean, I'll open the floor to you. What do you think about Vanguards and controller and the heroes that are available to them right now?
Yeah, I will say that I do agree with the fact that I think that Vanguards in this current meta need to require fast action capabilities. They're not the slower pace that you've seen success with on controllers like Strange, Magneto, and Emma, who do a really good job. Even Angela, for example, do a good job playing a little slower and more methodical. Right now, it's about speed. It's about momentum. It's about spinning quickly. It's about reacting fast. And yeah, I don't think you can do that on roller as significantly at this level of play. But, you know, there's still folks that are going to make it work. But yeah, I think I'm with you on that, Dog.
Dog, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm sure you're going to have people after you saying it. I'm sure there's going to be all the controller players.
Well, I think a lot of these controller players can switch to mouse and keyboard. That's the thing. Like a lot of them, and this might be a discussion long term if you switch back and forth. Because I know I saw Spark Chief talking about how you get aim assist like on the grabs on Angela and stuff, like that being crazy as hell. And also the joystick movement too for Angela just feels good. It's good for controller, obviously. Like certain heroes are better for certain inputs, as Shib mentioned. So definitely just it's a patch thing, I guess, for sure. But yeah, also like I wonder if you could switch inputs mid series. Like what if you go from controller on Angela, then you play keyboard and mouse Venom or something? Like they could do that, right? Like all these guys are very talented. We see Smash on the bench of was it NRG or what? Right? He's been a really good player on mouse and keyboard now after switching off of roller.
I don't know if I'm going to allow that. You know, I don't want to see players turning up with mouse and keyboard and controller. Surely that's against the rules. That's against everything I know in esports, right? You can't do that. I mean, it's a great topic of discussion. I'm sure it's going to be discussed and people will change back and forth, Dog. You're completely right, depending on meta.
All of our best players in this game, too, like I was like underrating, I think, a lot of console players, but a lot of the really good mouse, like players playing keyboard and mouse, like the 100 Thieves team, most of them were rollers before. I believe Delena was. You know, we talked about that many times. These guys made the transition flawlessly. They don't have bad aim. If you're a pro-level player on a controller or mouse and keyboard, I would believe it if you could play vice versa. Except for me, I can't play with a controller for the life of me. That I can't. I don't know how you guys do it.
Well, that's the beauty of Marvel Rivals, is that you can play on both inputs. And for me, always the best esports are those that can include both mouse and keyboard and controller. Marvel Rivals doing it right. But it is just a meta thing of sometimes heroes aren't going to be as good as others on a different peripheral. Now, to reel us back in, Shib, about this actual match, we saw it was going to be Midtown here. Do you think that does lean towards Lunex, or do you think this maybe opens up the floor for SSG?
Yeah, this is SSG's decision, and I think they, like, again, they're very versatile comp, and I do think on maps like Midtown, you need to have that versatility. You need to be able to play some weird stuff, so I do think this leans in their favor. But Lunex ran a really solid triple off the rip there, and I think that's what you're looking for on defense. They're going to be starting on defense right now. Maybe we see it happen again. I think the ban phase needs to change here for the side of SSG.
SSG, are they going to change their ban phase? Will they learn their lesson from map 1? Or maybe, just maybe, can Lunex do what some would say is the unthinkable of taking down a partner team and also a team that has looked very formidable so far here in Group B? And if they do, remember, they will qualify for playoffs and they will find that position and rip it away from Nightmare. Do you think that's in the back of their mind, Dog, that not only do they progress, but they can also stop the likes of Nightmare going forward?
Yeah, maybe, man. I mean, this is going to be a banger matchup regardless. And for sure, like you mentioned, you guys talked about it all this tournament, nerves have to be at an all-time high.
Well, nerves may be at an all-time high. It is going to be SSG versus Lunex. It's map 2. Can Lunex get it done in 2, or will SSG send us to a third? Guys, take it away.
All right, my friend. You and I both called it 2-1. We will see what happens here. The ball is in Lunex's court, and they can absolutely change who progresses here as we move into the playoffs. I'm looking forward to seeing this matchup. The ban phase begins now. Goodbye to Elsa on both sides.
All right, removing that character. I like it so far. And you know what? Like, I think it goes down to what you said, right? If we're going to allow this gambit to go through thus far, you know, what does the ban phase look like? Do we get rid of Tones' Rogue, or are we going to keep playing against it? I think it's kind of like you guys mentioned earlier, though, like Lunex maybe not the best on Convoy regardless of composition, so it may not matter. This was kind of a weakness, I believe, out of a lot of the MRC teams. Is that okay? Yeah, they're hovering it.
They were hovering it. Yeah, I think it needs to happen. But okay, yeah, I was gonna say I'm with you 100%. Like you're absolutely right. It has to come through, and I think that's a smart decision. That's what I wanted to see changed here. If you're not gonna match it, just make sure they can't play it because they clearly are using it to its fullest extent in a game and in a round where Gambit's available. And Gambit not only makes the Rogue incredibly strong, but being able to go on top of that Gambit, reduce all charge to ensure your Gambit has more charge faster, getting more ultimates. It's just going to put your team in a better spot. So we'll see the change now.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And I saw they were hovering the Star-Lord Protect 2 to see if they want to play it, but it's going to be the Invis to get to that one-sided matchup as well. And now, Shib, this also begs the question, do we get rid of the Doctor Strange maybe potentially? Do we start to get more into the Van pool again alongside the Gambit? Who would you go for the ban here? Is it a Vanguard or maybe even... Okay, it is the Van pool. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good ban out. We saw that a lot even in the last matchup because Vanpool's just plays so well into the triple comp. Essentially plays like a duelist. You play him similar to Thor, right? Where you're just flanking, trying to find value on the backline, distracting them, and getting picks. And it plays exactly the way duelists do, and that's why you see a lot of duelist players when they're running those triple comps run that Vanpool. But we will see how it looks right now. I do think this is a significantly better banning phase for SSG, and I'm looking forward to seeing this matchup. Lunex going to be defending first, SSG on the offense. We'll see if they have a comp to break this front line.
All right. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Let's see if Blur has that one-sided matchup that we've seen out of, earlier Tones and, maybe even adding Vest into that as well. We'll see how Necrise as well does onto that Emma Frost with this matchup specifically. And then for Lunex, how do they react to it, considering we also know they're more of a domination-focused team, centric team, Shib. So Midtown map we're going to for Space Station Gaming obviously feel like they have an edge over Lunex here and trying to force that map number 3 you mentioned.
Yeah, and here we will go. You can see the comps are walking out the door on. Tones, a very strong Hulk. They're electing to run that with more of a brawl front line here. They're going to be playing off each other. The Gamma Gauntlets are getting some play here on defense. Personally love to see that team up when you're playing things. Just adding a little more value there, a little extra range. But then you can see on SSG's front, Monk going to be on that Jeff right now. That might just be his speed out the door, but I'm not 100% sure. We'll see in a moment. Don't necessarily need speed when the point's right in front of you, so it could just be the play on trying to find value with the Jeff. But Hulk is a very good pick into Jeff, and you can use that defensive capabilities on the bubble to just save your whole team and negate an ultimate. Let's see what it looks like now.
And through the ban phase and how it went, to point out that the Invisible Woman is unmatched in terms of Lunex's side, going for that Jeff and Gambit combination. Really fast-paced setup, Nectar's dives. Also, the Star-Lord still available, too, for both sides, but both opting into sort of those pseudo-different heroes to play. It seems like Elsa's been the mainstay, but there's still like that sort of gap at other heroes.
Regis able to find Doom there, and that's a good start for the side of Lunex on defense. Numbers up for them, getting their footing back a little bit and going to retake that height. A lot of battles for this height will take place as Nectar's going to consistently be peppering Regis and try to find that backline in available moments. Arlets are charging quick, though, for Silent Blaze. Regis at 71% already. Talking about that hit scan aim. Built a little bit different.
Well, clean with it, man. Like, all the hit scan guys are just crazy at this level. For sure, but all the space they'll give it, right? Like you mentioned, the ultimate's being built, Ensong Inferno up in a moment. But still, this defense has to give up space, controlled, and Regis gets deleted by Nectar.
Nectar able to find Regis here. Out goes that invisible boundary from Silent Blaze. You can see the answer for now as Logan's able to find Blur. It's going to put a number up once more for Lunex. Needed something through that as now they're going to start the Raging Royal Flush. The question is, are they going to answer it? No, Fidel, not quite there, 85%. Gonna like to drop back. Good kite there from the side of Space Station, not allowing anything to happen. And that's a win for Space Station, who are gonna come back heavy with ultimates in this fight. Likely gonna use Nectar with Fidel again to see if they can find a few.
Yeah, good point. I mean, at the moment, too, the defense doesn't have that media ramp to maybe counter the Star-Lord, but the stun into the sky. I mean, they could do something crazy here, but here's that opening push onto Iffy.
And there's that combination. Goodbye, everyone. 3 fall. Necrise able to get a 2-piece. Nectar gonna find 2. Fidel finding Tones. Another now as everyone's finding a double. And they'll get moving past this ambulance. There could be a portal play to keep it right by the ambulance so you can walk for the 3rd touch. You're trying to ensure 3 fights. Instead, they're gonna play a little safer as that point was already pushed up pretty far. And pretty much can't guarantee 3 now.
Well, that is interesting, too, because Tico went over to the Wolverine. The Sky goes doomed, and then the follow-up, maybe try and take him out the sky, but doesn't.
He tried. That would have been pretty dope, but not going to work out. Nectar going to clean that up. Goodbye, Tones. And this should be point one here in a little bit, as there will be no portal back up in numbers. Month does have ultimate available too. Blur going to be there shortly. If Blur can get on top of the back line with that Heartbreaker, should ensure the fight win. As we see Iffy fall, we see Tico go down. Blur is going to pull out and use that Rogue. Nectar finds Logan. Regis gets one, but the numbers are too much in their favor right now. The stall's going to happen for a moment on the Venom. That was insane movement, by the way, but should not be for too long.
Yeah, I mean, he'd do that. You're hitting, like, jet levels of, like, G-forces for sure, like how fast he whipped around like that, man. Jesus. But, I mean, Space Station, they get it done, and Blur going over to the, the Rogue mismatch is huge, obviously, but Nectarize as well, like, towards the end, got the grab, played around the cart, and obviously was able to do way more against Lunex when Tones has to commit that hard on a Doomed in the Sky upcoming fight, though, Shiv. No ultimates for them just yet. However, I think Nectar's been such a force, and Lunex have to counter it. In this case, they go Tico to Namor because they're, you know, really scared of this dive at the moment, and SSG have Lunex on the back foot.
Yeah, and once again, Lunex going to be up in ultimates right now, so we'll see if this is their chance to win one, but Nectar already has that ult available. You're talking about them just pressing into Lunex and forcing some mistakes. That's exactly what's going on here. But we're going to see what happens, as this is another opportunity. There is some value in this Raging Royal Flush this time. Able to find 1-2. Nectar, though, trades with Regis once more. Nectar just keeping eyes on Regis at all times, understanding that that is definitely a prio target. You want to make sure you can drop Regis out of these fights, who does have Ensong Inferno available. But there goes that Raging Royal Flush, and it will be answered now by Fidel in this next fight. But Fidel and Nectar just keep doing this combination, and it keeps working out. Nectar doing a great job with that Dance of the Butterfly, getting value.
Yeah, Nectar's perfectly positioned at all times. I mean, here it comes in just a moment. Fast play from the SSG.
Ooh, but a few get committed. Tico is also going to be jumping on that Namor. Haven't seen a ton of Namor, but when we do, it's usually Tico, and it's been pretty successful in the past. Blur able to find Iffy, who does commit the Meteor M there to try to live, but you can't eat a punch, and that will make them pay for it, as now Space Station will have a huge advantage, dropping the rest of them slowly but surely, and we'll have ult advantage in this fight. This is looking like another potential point here for SSG.
Yeah, this is looking like we saw out of the NRG game earlier, where Lunex are trying to run that 2-2 style, but they don't have the Loki. Like, the Loki ban is really stopping them, like, from playing this slow pace, you know, Namor Phoenix composition compared to the Elsa Phoenix we saw earlier. But Tico now going to match that Psylocke.
Good movement here by Nectar. Just consistently 180ing. Find value as Blur finds Iffy once more. Blur. You know what? Why didn't we see this last match? Because this is a really, really clean play right now. Across the board from Blur. Just showing up. Getting value as Doom takes out Regis once again. Regis falls. Logan in a dangerous spot. Monk does have the Fox available. Logan no longer going to be able to commit here. Points very close. 0.4 meters left, and that will do, I believe, as Tones. Ooh, but the Raging Royal Flush comes in. I think it's kind of a panic play at this point, as Tico is trying to hold on to the point. They're just barely staying there. Nectar looking for the back line. Does a decent amount of damage, but they just get point for free.
Yeah, I mean, they tried to stall, wait for Vanguards to get back, but could not, and Nectar's POV is just cinema for sure, and same thing with Blur, like you said. A nice job to wait for Tico to eventually go down and stagger himself. But this goes back to, okay, now they're going for the Doctor Strange, going to something else. I like that for the side of Lunex. Regardless, like you said, Blur, the reason why this squad has been so good as the portal play comes out is because of this man on Rogue and also Venom.
Yeah, very strong front line for sure. Rita's doing a great job too on the duels. So this team definitely has a ton of talent, and I'm looking forward to seeing them just grow as a unit over time and see what they can do in the scene as it develops. But looking back again, Space Station get that point and once again are up in ult advantage. That just seems to be the story here consistently. You know, forced Logan to use ultimate there to try to hold point. Didn't work out. So now, again, Space Station going to have heavy advantage. Month finds one. Blur finds another. Nectar, what do you know? Another ult trait with value. But it might have been a little bit of overcommitment. But farming ult so fast at this point, what does it even matter? Another pick there. I mean, Nectar, somebody stop him.
Yeah, somebody's got to stop him, man. I don't think Iffy knows what to play, dude. Tone's going back over to Hulk, too? Or is he going to go back over to Shrey? Like, I think their Vanguard line looks so confused once Bro got banned, man. Like, you talked about it earlier. That ban's really set them back because every single fight, it feels like one of them's down.
Yeah, Doom starting up here. Galactic Legend, Nectar in a dangerous spot. Good commitment there by Tones. Able to find one. That's a good start. And just going to stall the point. Oh, nice tackle there. You know who plays great in the cap is Emma. Well, I do think Emma still does. It fits that role perfectly. Month finding Tones there. And once again, Lunex are kind of on their heels. But there's only 36 seconds on for point 3.
Yeah, I mean, they still have a good timing to work with. That's a good point, Shiv, that you brought up. Now, Regis can stall out for a little bit longer. Somebody else comes through. Holiday should be free, except...
huge. It's a great answer right there. Using the Sonic Seduction to stop the Galactic Legend is just one of those answers that works very well, and especially when Galactic Legend can be a big problem. But Logan did not have that combination. Might have been a little more valuable if that was the case. Doomed finding this off-angle play right now, farming ult as fast as possible. Blur are going to engage heavy, get towards the back line, but Gambit gets that ult off first before the ult charge gets taken away. Blur chasing still, trying to find something, not able to make that work out. Overtime ticking down now. Lunex doing a good job holding, but Doomed finds that pick from SSG, and now it is going to be a 5v6. Invisible Boundary and Freedom Charge get committed. It's all about just trying to find a way back to that before OT ticks down. Silent Blaze with one.
Yeah, interesting layer for sure, but is it enough? They find Necrise, both Vanguards down, Shiv. Overtime ticks. Anybody get a portal play? The answer is no, so it's only squishies to help stall, and they're not going to stall for any longer. Space Station Gaming gets stopped at the very end of the map.
And this is still a winnable match here for Lunex. You know, not getting the point 3 gives your team hope. Honestly, it's an attack-sided map once you get cooking through point 1. If you break that spawn hope, for some reason, teams just seem to keep it going, and I think that kind of happens in ladder as well. So we'll see what happens here with Lunex. I think Space Station Gaming performed very well there. Could not quite get the job done, but still a great push.
Yeah, I think if I imagine, Shib, I don't know if what your answer would be to this. I know it's recency bias because we're watching this game, but I feel like if you asked 99% of GMs in the league in Ignite, you know, who they would pick up as their starting player and to build around, I don't know about you, but it might be Nectar. Like, I feel like Nectar in general is just such a flexible player. Who would your answer be? Obviously, you got recency bias right now with me probably, but who would you build around first if you were to pick up any player?
There's a lot of answers for that for me right now. I think Energy's up there, Nectar's up there, Speedery's disgusting. If you're thinking just duelist front, I mean, there's so many people I could bring up, and then, you know, the strat line, back line is super important right now. There's so many answers, but for recency bias sake, I totally understand. I think Nectar's so versatile. That's what you're looking for from a duelist that can play virtually every meta pick, but I think Psylocke's in a good spot right now, and if you are discussing on Psylocke, you can apply so much pressure in virtually any comp. You can play with a poke, you can play in with a dive, and you can just farm frontline against Brawl. There's a lot of solutions with Psy right now, but Loki's obviously a problem.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think the flexibility is insane. Just reminds me of those, like, social media posts. You know, you have $5, and then you start to give every player a price tag to build a roster.
Yeah,
those are always a lot of fun. But we start off... Ship immediately. They go for the group comp off the rip for Lunex alongside Regis now, who is a traditionally hit scan player, going over to the Wolverine for Tico to be on the Phoenix.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I think it's a change in pace here. It might work out. It's going to throw him for a loop a little bit. We're going to see a little more traditional triple comp there from Space Station on defense, but wow, Nectar once again just not missing a beat. Great damage there. The tracking is just obscene. Yeah, folks, for those who are like, how do I get like them? You can actually look at their stats. You can look at their DPI. You can look at all their sensitivities in game now. Make sure you go check out the esports tab. And that's not even something I'm supposed to plug. I just think it's so cool. I think that's awesome. And eventually be able to take Crosshair as well. Check out stats. So make sure you do that. But we're going to start up once more with this fight. Lunex getting a little bit of space here off the rip, but Space Station doing exactly what they want to.
Yeah, kind of tag teaming the high ground, sending both a Strat and Tico on the high ground to control it. But this is not as clean necessarily as SSG's attack was so far to the ambulance side. But regardless, Ultimate's being built up. Upcoming fight, Fidel should have it at the same time as Logan in a moment. Alongside building that ult for Blur, who has been insane on the Rogue. We'll see what happens upcoming fight, though. A lot of card space given.
Yeah, and there goes the initiation. Tones with a great pick there onto Nectar on that Psylocke through the chaos. Out goes his Sonic Seduction, trying to hide behind point for the moment. Use those walls from Groot to shut that down. Honestly, a pretty good answer. Oh, the idea there from Regis was big. Did not net into fruition as Doom takes up to the sky with a Meteor M, trying to avoid that Meteor, and does that. Does not have passive available, so can't play too aggro there. And there is a big prison as they do get one pick on a Necrise. And that's all the value you need with an ultimate. One is plenty. Sometimes it's worth making that happen when you see an opportunity. What a pick there from Fidel as well as Itby again gets one. Out goes the invisible boundary. Tones once more on this Groot, looking so good.
Yeah, that was insane. Like you said, he weaved it through that Emma shield, just like bottom left. I thought it might have got stopped. Portal play coming out of Necrise, though, last second, Shib. This is going to be a tough retouch, but excellent bubbles out of Iffy so far.
And Necrai's able to drop back towards the team after the portal comes through. Good stall for the moment. Good utilization of that portal. You'll see a lot of the teammates going back in portal. You may say, why? Oh, this could be huge first. Bang, Redis towards that Gambit. Goodbye, Fidel. Huge target prio there. Ensuring that does not come through. Does not get alt charge in that fight. Tico onto Nectar and 0.5 meters away from them taking point 1 with some time on.
Yeah, excellent work so far, just with the Groot walls. I mean, I thought they could delay for long enough, but no straddles to save SSG. We're moving to second phase of the map with more ult charge given, Shib. Like, most importantly, you talked about Tone so far. Able to play the Groot, and Month gets staggered out, delayed. This guy, obviously, in Wolverine Redis, good flexibility for him to go play it. But, Shib, this is going to be interesting as we move forward. No Wolverine yet, either matched by SSG, as they still feel comfortable playing this composition that they're on.
Yeah, it's tricky, right? Because when you see Groot comps, you think damage. Damage really hurts Groot. You know, in ladder, you can see some of the more like Punisher kind of stuff come out. I'm not sure that's the answer right now. Teams just got to have that focus when walls are breakable. But you do also have the Gambit to use that cleanse on some of those ults and find value that way. Definitely on the table, but that's why you're going to see more of these unique looking for one target ultimates and just walling them off, so that those kind of answers don't come through. It looks like it was answered right there, but Redis off the back of that is able to find one, make it 2, Redis, as Logan takes out Blur, and they're just walking this point with almost 3 minutes on.
And the claws have been sharp today, and you know, we do have ults at least for SSG side. Maybe that's what they're thinking, Shib. I mean, they can maybe get a, well, they don't have Portal, right? Because they used it earlier, huh? So this is going to be a very close fight. I wonder if Lunex want to go aggressive or even wall them off. It looks like the answer is aggression towards this choke.
Dude, this bracket is so insane. I mean, I can't believe there's opportunity for this team to come home and take this. Everyone can beat anyone. Anyone can beat anyone. As we see Tico coming back in. Blur does go down once again. Lunex up one. Downtown with the Meteor M. Wow, that looked like it was going to land. Does not. Does get trans right there by the Sonic Seduction. But pays for it as Redis gets one. Looking for another one. Do I see 2? I do. The point's already capped. And they are walking with almost 4 minutes on. Lunex want to end this right now.
Oh my god. I mean, they could, dude. This is so possible for Lunex's side. Now, you have to say, okay, they used a lot of ults in the last fight. That's something that could be massive moving forward. Blur does have that rogue ultimate to go. It's not like it'll be insanely to counter anything, but they do have Doom to Wolverine finally, Shib. At the last minute, you talked about how it's very easy to snowball through the second phase, but 3 minutes last point. This is going to get very dicey for SSG.
There goes the Heartbreaker, getting onto the back line here. SSG, Nectar going to commit heavy now. Trying to get their back line and does that. Logan, silent fall, Blur, Nectar again. I mean, there's just so much huge pick potential and play here coming through from SSG, but in the downtime, after those ults get combined and used, it's like they struggle heavily in this neutral, and neutral's incredibly important right now, and Lunex just keeps seeming to find value with this group. There's that switch, by the way.
Yeah, they got the Invis matchup too, and they got the Mag as well. I mean, Doom's going to have to go off as well as dodging all these cooldowns, and Redis over to the Daredevil now is the change-up. So they're playing it perfectly.
Yeah, you're going to try to mark Root 2 on the Mag, potentially get an eat on one of these ultimates, and you essentially just, you know, stuff anything possible. But wow, once again, Lunex off the back of Logan's ultimates, which I'm curious about shot callers at this point because this team is looking so coordinated right now. Are pressing forward. This is very much in their hands. Can they shut down SSG and the dreams of some other teams here progressing forward and Ignite?
Yeah, Tones could do it, man. He could shut the door. Necrai's doesn't have ult yet, or Necrai's has to go big with the Meteor M in this upcoming fight.
Yeah, the Meteor M eat could be huge here. Oh, Silent Blaze, that's another huge pick. Well done there. As Doom goes down, and there's the eat. Oh, it does seem to land, but the idea was to try to use that Meteor M to counter it. Doesn't seem to work out, and that's an ult for an ult that neither of which get value. Points back in the favor of Lunex. The boundary comes out for Silence Blaze. There's no answer. Logan on the Necrise. They can do this right now, folks. A meter left here. Trying to stall for as long as possible. Silent Blaze able to find Nectar. Redis finds one on a Doomed, and this might be it, folks. Blur tries to hold, gets pulled off point, excuse me, and it looks like it does happen. Lunex does the impossible, bounce back, and take over this W 2-0.
Are you kidding? 2 MRC teams are now qualified through Group B, dude. That's crazy. Oh my goodness, what a job by this squad, and through the band phase, through how they played their opponents to such high levels. Huge shout out to them. Unfortunate for the side of Nightmare, obviously, but for Lunex to get it done versus SSG, who have been doing well recently in that fashion is truly impressive across the board. You have to give huge shout outs to, like you mentioned, with Tonez and Ritas to flex to over the Wolverine and stuff, the draft as well with the Invisible Woman to maybe like counter anything they could do with Wolverine. Excellent job from Team Lunex to 2-0. I said it was going to be 2-0, but I thought it was not going to be 2-0 for Lunex, that's for sure.
Shout out Silent Blaze on the sticks, too, as a strategist in the back line. Clean MVP there.
Okay,
48K healing.
Of course, you would say that after I just angered the hive of the controller player.
Well, you said Vanguard, but yeah. Still,
True,
I totally get it.
I'm with you. Controller strategists, let's go. But if you're controller Vanguard, hell no.
Oh, geez. But yeah, either way, man, I'll tell you what, this team, Lunex, they look refreshed. They look good. They feel confident on that Gambit comp. Shout out Logan, too, on that Gambit. I think it's very difficult to go Gambit v Gambit. I think a lot of it's on your shoulders, finding 6 finals, 7 there for Silent, 11 for Ritas, and 11 for Tones, who's not afraid to switch things up. We saw some very different Vanguards pulling out the Groot at the end there and not needing to change at all. Shout out to the Groot mains. I personally love to see it.
Well. We have our 8 teams that are going to be progressing into playoffs, and they are not necessarily the teams that we thought would be there. There's definitely been ups and downs, smiles and frowns today. In the end, Nightmare's Hail Mary does not work out. Lunex Gaming will be the spoiler of their party, and they're going to be progressing in what was an emphatic fashion, really, to do it against Space Station, who have looked so good thus far in preseason. It doesn't hurt Space Station too much. They're still going to finish second in this group, but certainly Lunex are going to be on cloud 9 right now. The fact that they've just been able to pull that off, and as you said, the MRC teams progressing just shows how impressive MRC is, and that you at home could compete in MRC and maybe could be playing in Marvel Rivals Ignite yourself. The structure and the infrastructure, we have in Marvel Rivals is absolutely insane, and that's why we get these amazing stories of basically zero to hero, quite literally. Dogman, you thought maybe it was going to be a 2-1, maybe it would be a 2-0 in favor of Space Station. What won that for Lunex? If you had to sum it up in one way, how did they win that one?
Yeah, it's got to be Rogue. I mean, just like anything to do with Rogue, the whole game, realistically, it's got to be that, right? I feel like map 1, first of all, the fact that they were able to get that unmatched is crazy, and like maybe they could have played it like you said with like Jim mentioned with Blur going over to it, but game number 2 playing the Groot, they figured it out. I think it looked a little bit questionable at points with their Vanguard line, but they did get there. They played the Groot and they played the Mag towards the very end, and it panned out. So really that's it at the end of the day. And I mean, maybe I want to see some change-ups out of their Vanguards a little bit. Maybe we could play something else. Maybe we could put the roller player on the Groot, but it looks like not a lot of roller players play the Groot to a super high level. So this is very interesting, I think, moving forward. That to me is the most standout thing, is the fact that Rogue has been so dominant this weekend.
And Shib, obviously, we talk about Nightmare not making it because of this result, but I don't want to overlook the fact that TSM also didn't make it out of this group. I mean, they are 2 teams who potentially people expected them to progress, yet they've been outshined by these MRC rosters that are just coming in. They are hungry, they are practiced, they are putting in the work. I mean, do you think that we are going to be seeing team changes already? Do you think that that's going to be on the horizon? I mean, I'm sure going into main season, people want to try and stick with it. But once we get to that possibility of team changes, surely a couple of these MRC guys are going to have eyes on them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're dead on the money there. I think that's definitely a potential, but I think it also just speaks to the talent, at least in this bracket. I mean, across the board, the amount of times that we've seen underdogs win over this last 2 weeks is blown my mind. I mean, that's why brackets are just in shambles right now. Nobody's nailing it at all, because it's just any given day, any team can show up. Every time we predict something, we're probably wrong, but that's the beauty of this level of Marvel Rivals right now. There's just so much talent, and teams are still kind of figuring each other out.
They are figuring each other out, and just when they think they have figured them out completely, suddenly it changes the next week, the next day. When the meta shifts, suddenly you have to learn everything all over again. And again, is the beauty of Marvel Rivals Ignite for me. Expect the unexpected here in all of the games we've had so far. It really has been a preseason of just surprises, especially here in America's, Dog. I mean, as this is the conclusion of the preseason group stages, what's been some of your favorite memories thus far over the last couple of weeks?
I mean, I wasn't here for it, but it really was. I think you brought up TSM, and I hate to double down and kick a team while they're down. But, you know, realistically, that 5-minute spawn hold on Central Park was just crazy to me. Like, I have never seen that in my time watching this game. And, like, I guess it's almost been 2 years now or something. Like, it's been forever. We're old as hell now. But that was insane. Like, I feel like TSM getting spawn held by Yeah, We Lost was truly something memorable. And we might see more of that later on. But 5-minute spawn camping, that is as, and maybe a safer way to put this is belt to booty.
There we go. You've learned from me. Belt to bottom is what I went with yesterday, which is just even safer. Has to be said.
Yeah, booty. Yeah, maybe not.
Ship, what about you? What's your favorite moments from these last couple of weeks in preseason group stages?
Oh, it's tricky, man. I feel like every day when these games get to map 3 and get to OT, I could shout out the hype of that moment. There's multiple times where my voice is cracked, like I was 16 all over again, just because of how hyped I've been from these matchups. And I mean, when we're watching these games, and if you just looked at, you know, if the audience had a look at our cameras while we were shoutcasting these games, we are nose to screen, just amped. That's just been happening so much in this tournament. I literally can't pinpoint a specific game because even today we got to see it with NRG. That match was crazy back and forth, and I was up on the screen with Sen. I could list every day and find a new team and a new matchup.
And as we bring this back to Lunex and their victory here, Dog, looking at the bracket ahead, and we will be able to look at it when that's ready, but I believe Lunex will play Swamp Gaming with the first matchup in winner's bracket, and they know each other well through MRC, I would assume. But do you think that, like, is the sky the limit for Lunex? Like, how far does this road go? Because they seem to be improving every time we see them on our screens.
Oh God, this is gonna. I hope the social media team is not watching, because I mean, realistically for Lunex, this is a huge win. Like, for sure, like you mentioned, 2-0ing a partner team and making it to the playoffs. We had talked about Cafe Rose almost doing it, by the way. So that's insane that they could do that. But I think it's, as you mentioned, Gask, like, the tough part is that Lunex will be going at Swamp Gaming first, which was, you know, a former MRC champion when they were under Nemesis before. Like, I feel like they just struggle versus these ex-MRI champion teams. Like, yeah, we lost, almost like former Nemesis versus MRI teams. So it's a really tough matchup. But after Swamp Gaming, I wouldn't be surprised if this team does a lower bracket run, considering how good they have looked. And they could definitely make a run at the right moment.
And we mentioned it a little bit earlier as well, Shib, the fact that we move now to best of fives. I think it does change everything when, you know, I'm a stats man. I've been throwing stats at you for the last week, and you're probably getting bored of it by now. But domination has been such an integral part of our discussion, and the fact that it will feature multiple times now, I think does change this dynamic. Do you think that prep completely changes for teams now going into best of 5? They would have been looking at far different things and statistics when it was best of 3.
Yeah, I mean, prep-wise, I'm not sure, but, you know, maybe. But I'll tell you what, the game is absolutely going to change. I think we will really start to see teams separate themselves between each other. We've seen a lot of back and forth from teams from best of 3s. But I think as we head to best of 5s, we're going to start distinguishing who are the best teams, because when you get into those matchups, teams really start to figure out each other's weaknesses, and that's where they start exploiting. In best of 3s, it's tricky, especially after Dom and 1, where it can kind of go either way. It's typically more 50-50 in Dom. We're going to see where those lines are drawn and where teams are in the upper echelon.
And Dog, I know I said that this doesn't hurt Space Station Gaming because they already were in second place, but thinking about it further, does it hurt their ego a little bit moving into playoffs, knowing that they've just lost this matchup against Lunex?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they have some pretty glaring holes to fill. Like, realistically, what are they going to play now if we let Rogue through or if we ban it? We could play it ourselves, but how do we match it on that Vanguard line? And I think what we've noticed so far throughout the tournament is these Vanguard players, and especially the Vanguard heroes right now, are just so strong. I feel like the limelight has been talking about strategists, but we just, like, failed to mention how most of these games, if certain heroes are through, we're seeing triple Vanguard lines. Like, we're seeing so much, even on Domination, we're seeing, like, Rogue, Vanpool and stuff. Like, I just can't believe how many Vanguard players on social media will complain about heroes being weak when, realistically, I mean, Vanguard's never been stronger.
Vanguard, I mean, I see it just in my simple ranked games, right? I see the importance of Vanguard, mainly when I'm solo Vanguarding, because apparently no one wants to play it with me. We need more Vanguard players, all right? Learn from what you're seeing here.
There, baby.
The strange play that we've seen today, the Venoms that will come out as well. I mean, it has just been pure brilliance to see how everyone has developed here. Shib, do you think there's any more, like, twists in the tail with how the meta has developed thus far, though? Because I know that we've been shifting back and forth growth with Elsa, with Gambit, with Vanpool. Now we're looking at Strange. Now we're looking at Rogue. Is there something that we're missing, or do you reckon that we might be down to the T now?
Yeah, I think we're starting to see shifts, and I think we're starting to see things not succeed as much as we all expected. For example, Jeff, I think has been struggling a little bit in terms of ultimates. I think teams are starting to download kind of how to counter Jeff. I think Jeff's been in a really good spot and does a great neutral, so instinctively feels like a good hero, but haven't seen a ton of influence in this tournament so far. So yeah, I think we're going to keep seeing shifts, and the beauty of Marvel Rivals, not just to like over talk about it, is the amount of patching, the amount of new heroes coming into the game every month. That kind of stuff forces these teams to be able to be flexible. You need to be able to react and become strong and learn new metas on a whim. And I think the teams that learn metas quickly will succeed in this scene. And we're seeing that already. And again, the metas keep developing. So the teams that are staying on top will keep succeeding.
Yeah, I wonder if it's a bit of a lesson learned situation, especially with it being preseason. That's the beauty for even those teams that were unable to qualify for playoffs. It's preseason. At the end of the day, it's a fantastic chance to experiment and to learn.
Yeah.
But Dog, do you think that for those teams who were slow to adapt to the meta as we got thrown into preseason, we'll be looking at now going into main phase saying, all right, as soon as new season drops, as soon as new patch drops, we need to be on it, we need to be studying, and we need to be the ones innovating rather than chasing?
Yeah, absolutely. It's about being on the money. It's about being smart and fast to adapt. And it can be hard, I think, if you don't have the right people talking, right? Like, I feel like, there's always the case of too many cooks in the kitchen, but it's also you don't want to leave all of the agency into somebody that has no idea what the hell they're doing. There's a lot of very smart players in the pro scene, very highly mechanically skilled players, but also sometimes you can get baited, right? Especially if you do well in practice, like we saw it of Nightmare, right? Like, the fact that Nightmare are now eliminated is just crazy due to the fact that, like, they were apparently dominating scrims. Like, they were doing well enough to be a top 2 team in their group. And maybe we could talk about that. Maybe they got baited about, they were doing so well weeks before, and then they're slow to adapt because of it. Oh, this week we just lost our scrim blocks because, I don't know, like, we could be a little bit iffy on it. But I mean, that's happened to me at points where, like, there's a new character that gets introduced, the new character gets buffed, and you're slow to adapt because your team was doing well the week before. So it's tough because of the timing, obviously, but it is very easy to get baited, and especially in this current scene where I think we get patches pretty frequently before tournaments, because this game is obviously a very casual game, just for everybody enjoying the game, obviously, just to play whatever they want. I don't think we're really considered too much when it comes to these patches. Maybe in the future that happens later on, but the fact that a patch happened a couple weeks before a tournament was crazy, and it might happen again, and you have to be, like you said, Gask, ready.
Have to be ready. And the 4 teams who technically weren't ready are the 4 teams who got eliminated: Cafe Rose, FlyQuest, Nightmare, and TSM. Ship, who was the biggest surprise for you that didn't make it through to playoffs, though? Because we've spoke about FlyQuest and the expectations and predictions, but of course they went through a lot of changes. Cafe Rose, I don't think we could be too hard on with the fact that they came through from MRC. Nightmare and TSM, though, maybe some expectations there. Who was the biggest, I don't want to say disappointment, but who was the biggest surprise in not making it through for you?
Yeah, so we did the predictions and we were talking about it for a while, and I predicted, because TSM is so good at hit scan metas, their team is just super good at that, and this meta is very divey, so I kind of assumed that. Nightmare, I would say, I thought they'd be more of a dive team. This would fit them more. I think, they've seen a lot of success, so my statement is I think Nightmare is the more surprising team for me. Leaving themselves in a position where they needed to have another team win in order to move forward is obviously not what I expected, but, again, I think that's the beauty of this, is that if another meta comes and it's poke, I don't think this shakes out the same way at all. I think this is a totally different bottom line team. So that's the weird and cool thing about Rivals right now.
That is the thing. Sometimes you just have to roll with the punches, and if it's not your meta, it's not your meta. You come back stronger. You just got to stay at least in the competition when it gets to promotion relegation scenario with the MRC teams. And then as long as you can have another stab at it when the meta changes, you might be the team that is leading the charge, and you might be the one who finally, when the championship comes around, you get to the grand finals and you're like, oh, well, now it is our meta and it's our time to shine. Remember, guys, if you want to learn more about Marvel Rivals Ignite, in-game, there is an esports tab. You might have heard Shib talking about it during the cast as well. We don't have to say this, but it is incredible to have it in-game. As someone who has worked in many an esport, many different titles, to have this support from Marvel Rivals is absolutely incredible. You can look at the stats of all the players, the history of all the players, the results that have just happened, and you can watch the matches live as well. I know I'm going to be looking at all of the stats from preseason in group stages as I prep for playoffs. And speaking of players, Dog, if you had to name one from group stages who stood out to you as the absolute shine above everyone in the scene, who would you go for?
Ooh, I mean, dude, it's a tough situation to sort of come back to, but it could definitely be maybe like Cooper or like Nero or something on the side of Liquid Citadel. Some of the Vanguards have been really good too, but yeah, probably with some of those two. Sorry, but I was like turning purple and stuff because I was opening the in-game tab to look at my predictions and how terrible they went in comparison. So yeah, I think it's got to be for me probably Nero so far.
Shib, what about for you?
Yeah, I'll go with, just based on the raw aura alone of not being able to play your hero a single time, Pauly. I think Forcing is one of the few people in the game right now that you have to ban his hero or you lose the game. At least that's what's happened so far. And that's a lot of power. I don't think a lot of people can say that right now in these ban phases. I don't think there's virtually anyone else that has that kind of power right now, and he's still succeeding with the more traditional Vanguards.